As a father of a 6-year-old, I've got a pretty close relationship with Paddington, and I was actually excited to review Paddington 2 on Blu-ray. Warner Brothers sent this out to me to take a look at, and Paddington was actually the first movie that my kid went to in the theater, and she also went with her mother to go and see Paddington 2 in the theater, and I was busy that day, so I could not go, so I was bummed out. So I was happy that Warner Brothers sent me this thing to review. The one thing that I will say about Paddington 2, and Paddington 1 had a little bit of this as well, is that there are a couple of sequences that get a little intense and a little freaky for the young ones. In Paddington 2, Paddington goes to prison, and he has to meet some really tough customers in this one, and he gets framed for a crime that he did not commit, so the drama is very high. And Hugh Grant is a lovable scumbag in this thing. He plays an actor who was once famous, and he's having a good time with this thing. And, you feel nothing but warmth for Paddington, who is very wonderfully rendered and very wonderfully performed, and all of the other actors around Paddington really, I think celebrate the work and give this little digital creation a lot of leeway to kind of melt our hearts, which is really effective. But yes, it does get a little bit intense when he goes to prison. Paddington does find a way to find the good in everybody, and he charms people. And even if there are, malevolent forces out there that seem to want to cause a lot of harm towards Paddington, he somehow finds a way, more often than not, to charm them and sort of bring them over to his side, and they fall in love with him, because how could you not fall in love with Paddington Brown, the most wonderful little bear that ever existed? It's great, but I do understand why my daughter was a bit freaked out, because there are some intense sequences and lots of people threatening Paddington, and just the fact that we spend so much time in jail with all of these big burly, angry-looking dudes is pretty comical for the adults, but I think could be a little bit kind of freaky if you've got young ones, sensitive young ones in there. The Blu-ray is actually a pretty decent Blu-ray. There's actually quite a few bonuses on there, including a music video with Hugh Grant. There's commentary from the director. There's lots of interviews with different cast members, not with Ben Whishaw, however, who plays Paddington. He's also the new Q in the James Bond movies, and I'm a fan of him. He's a good actor. But man, this is a really well-made sequel, and I don't think it's quite as, out of nowhere effective and charming as the first Paddington was, but I think you can kind of say that with most sequels out there, especially sequels to kids' movies like this. But it's really well made, and it honors the work of Michael Bond extraordinarily well, and the books, and I just love the way that Warner Brothers is handling the cinematic translation, the adaptation of this work. I think it's great. I hope that this was a big success, and that we get to continue seeing more from this series, because I think everybody involved is doing it with love. If you've got Paddington fans in your household, I think you're going to love this one as well. I'm going to give Paddington 2 a 9 out of 10.